Have you ever stepped foot in a region full of natural landscapes, hundreds of medieval castles and fortifications, and more than 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites? If you haven't, then you probably haven't been to the Netherlands. Rich with iconic sights like large fields of bright tulips, mysterious canals, dikes that have been converted into bike lanes, and of course the famous windmills, the Netherlands will surely capture your heart. With all these remarkable tourist attractions, it's hard not to plan a trip just to go there. With that said, let's go ahead and look into the top 10 places to visit the Netherlands that the Dutch are proud to share. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and even share with your family and friends who would love to go to top attractions in the Netherlands. Make sure to stay to the end of the video to see which of these top places have animals. Number 1. Binnenhof. The exquisite Binnenhof complex in The Hague is a stunning historic structure and one of the country's most famous sites in the South Holland region. It is also known as Het Binnenhof or Inner Court, Knight's Hall. Visiting the site is an adventure because it includes a tour of stunning architecture as well as the study of Dutch history and politics. For centuries, the Binnenhof has functioned as the country's political nerve center. It is a well-known town hall for Dutch parliamentarians, government officials, and leaders. Oh, and it also houses the Prime Minister's office. It's worth a visit because it's the scene of many historical events and political developments in the Netherlands. Visitors can tour the town hall facilities and enjoy its beauty by choosing from different itineraries that include a walk through the ancient edifice and a tour of the House of Representatives, which has an impressive design in its old town walls. Number 2. Vincent van Gogh's Old Haunts. Begin your next tour in Zundert, a town of 15 kilometers south of Breda and the birthplace of Vincent van Gogh. Although his family's original home no longer exists, the garden does, and the Vincent van Gogh House Museum currently stands in its place. In front of the old Dutch Reformed church where his father formerly preached, there is a statue of the artist. There are other additional statues throughout the country, including one in Etten-Leur, where his artistic career began. Nieuwennen, commonly known as Van Gogh Village, is only 8 kilometers from Eindhoven. From 1883 until 1885, the artist lived in a pastor's house where travelers can explore his former home, which has been painstakingly restored. A self-guided tour takes you to over 24 sites in the village associated with his time there. After touring the artist's former settings, pay a visit to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, which houses dozens of paintings, sketches, and engravings, as well as the letters between the painter and his loved ones. Among the most well-known paintings in the museum is the Impressionist vase with sunflowers and the realistic potato eaters. True fans will enjoy the immersive multimedia Meet Vincent van Gogh experience, which explores the narrative of his life as well as his work. Number 3. Dutch Windmills. Kinderziek in Rotterdam is beside the River Noord and is one of the most photographed places in the Netherlands. Visitors will find the country's largest collection of ancient windmills here, with a total of 19 built between 1722 and 1761. Unlike many other surviving windmills, which were designed to process grain and other products, these were created as a part of the water management system to prevent flooding in the settlement. Each is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and visitors may watch the massive sails spin on special mill days. A magnificent 7-story windmill that was once used as a flour mill sits atop the hill near Leiden. This charming monument was constructed in 1743 and currently houses the Windmill Museum. Tourists can learn about how the windmill was worked and maintained by visiting the miller's quarters and the tools he formerly used. The museum also explores the history and the significance of windmills in the Netherlands. Number 4. The Anne Frank House. Towns like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Haarlem have been chosen as the finest locations to visit in the Netherlands for a nice night out by the locals and the tourists alike. If you want something a little less touristy, go to Delft or Leiden. But if you find yourself stuck in Amsterdam's touristy town center, then don't forget about Anne Frank's house. It is one of the most well-known tourist attractions in Amsterdam. And yeah, it's worth beating the cobblestone streets simply to discover this place going for her diary. This house is significant for being the birthplace of Anne Frank, who was a well-known diarist and Holocaust survivor of German-Dutch descent with Jewish ancestors. During World War II, Anne penned her journal in an underground annex of this very house while hiding for more than 2 years. In its current state, the house functions as a museum and a national landmark, plus it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The museum tour of Anne Frank House lasts only 30 minutes. The secret annex chamber and her other furniture left by Anne and her family have been meticulously kept and displayed. Number 5. Tulip Fields of Flevoland Province. The bulk of tulips planted in the Netherlands are grown in the Flevoland province. An ideal time to see them full bloom is from mid-April to May. Commercial flower-growing fields can be found along the northwestern coast of the Netherlands, between Alkmaar and The Hague. There's also the Keukenhof Gardens in Leiden, which is the most popular flower lovers trip, which approximately 7 million flowers grow each year. This is the world's largest public flower garden, spanning more than 70 acres and including over 700 tulip varieties. The gardens also have daffodils, crocuses, and hyacinths. And if you aren't visiting the Netherlands in the spring, then don't worry, because the Netherlands is famous for its indoor growing, which allows anyone to view their collections of the Keukenhof all year round. Number 6. Historic Haarlem. Haarlem, being a short distance from Amsterdam, is a fantastic day trip from the city. Haarlem is located near the beach on the banks of the Spaarne River and has numerous ancient buildings and attractive old squares. It's a joy to walk through the small lanes flanked by Master Leeuwenhoek's Quay's majestic buildings. Haarlem's historic heart is centered on the Grote Market, the major market square. The old city hall, built in the 13th century, is one of the most remarkable structures. St. Bavakirk, a 14th century Gothic church, is also nearby. Both structures have magnificent interiors and massive towers. The Vleeshal, called the Meat Hall, erected in the Northern Renaissance style and currently part of Frans Hal's museum, is one of the most prominent structures. Explore its numerous cafes and restaurants, as well as remarkable museums such as the Frans Hals or Teylers Museum. Haarlem is known as the most Flemish city in the north with good cause. Number 7. Castles in the Netherlands. De Haar Castle, or Kasteel de Haar, near Utrecht, is one of the most famous castles in the Netherlands. Its fame stems from its magnitude and magnificence more than its age. It is notorious for uprooting an entire hamlet to make its way for construction. The 135-acre site hosts several events throughout the year, including a Christmas festival, and a fairy tale castle may be toured. Tourists can also visit the much older Zuilen Castle in nearby Oud-Zuilen, which dates back to the 13th century and was reconstructed in 1510. There's also the UNESCO-listed Castle van Breda, an amazing mansion that has hosted aristocracy and monarchy since the 12th century, which is located in Breda. The existing construction began as a fortified castle in 1530 and has since been enlarged over the centuries to its current size. Its twin towers, Bloikhoe and Spanjergat, or Spaniard's Hole, a massive library, the palace gardens, and the Royal Military Academy are also noteworthy. Number 8. Living History Museums. The Netherlands Open Air Museum, also called the Netherlands Openlucht Museum, located just outside the city of Arnhem, is one of the most popular sites to visit. This living history museum was founded in 1912 to preserve Dutch history and culture, and it offers tours of traditional homes, workshops, and windmills. There are even costumed interpreters who portrayed daily life centuries ago, including that of fishermen, farmers, and craftspeople. A series of laborers' cottages also illustrates the daily life of the average family during 4